Yeah. So as we said in the introduction class, so we do have three parts. I mean SQL Server, and we have MSBA. In MSBA, we are going to discuss SSIS and SSRs. Okay. So usually we'll start with SQL Server first. Okay, which is a database management system, and we will start SSRS and then SSIS. So that is how the flow will be. Okay, and SQL Server will take nearly 50 to 60 days, and then 25 days it will take to cover SSIS and SSRs. Okay, and there will be a non-technical stuff about the payroll and Naukri and your project. So everything it will take another 10 days of time. Okay, so that's how it will. Okay, so let's quickly start with SQL Server. Okay, and in SQL Server also we do have two parts, guys. One is SQL Server, and there is a one more part called TSQL. Okay, SQL, and then we used to call it as TSQL. Okay, in SQL we have multiple topics. Okay, and it will take again a month of time, and after that we'll talk about the TSQL, and here also we have few topics. Okay, yeah, I'll show you everything. Okay, how to open and how to run the queries, everything I'll show you. Okay, just wait for some time. Yeah. Yeah. So initially we'll start with the SQL first. Okay, then after we'll start with the TSQL. Okay, now the thing is, the main purpose of this SQL Server is to store the data, guys. Okay, so in the market we have so many softwares to store the data. Okay, many databases are there. Okay, and we can also say like Excel also one of the database. Okay, and we can also say like XML and Notepad, CSV. Okay, see comma separated value files. Okay, there are multiple source files where we can able to store the data. Okay, but why we need to go for a SQL Server to store the data means, okay, so if you for an example, let me take an Excel as a source. Okay, so what will happen if we go and store the data in a Excel? So this is the Excel, right? So here we can put some data like ID, okay, name, some address, something like this, and we'll put, so these are the columns, right? And here we'll put some data. These are rows. Okay, now the problem over here is in the Excel file or any other source files like CSV, Notepad files is we can store the data, but there are some limitations. Okay, so when it comes to Excel, right? So up to in each sheet, up to some 10 lakhs of rows we can able to store. Okay, up to 10 lakh rows we can able to store. So what if we will get more than 10 lakhs? Okay, so what we need to do, we need to go to other sheet and store. And again, if it is full, again we need to go to another sheet and we need to fill the data. Okay, and we have to take more and more Excel files. Okay, so and one more problem, one is space issue. The another issue is let's say we store the data. Now sometime later, let's say I need top 10 records. Okay, for an example, I'm storing some order details. I need some top 10 customers, okay, who are placed more orders, let's say. Okay, so in such a case what will happen means, okay, so reading from this Excel is a bit difficult. Okay, reading from this particular from this particular Excel is very difficult actually. Okay, why? Because let's say here we have a 10 lakh rows, here also we have 10 lakh, here also we have a 10 lakhs. Okay, now everything is like orders. How will you filter out that top 10 top 10 customers? Okay, so it's bit so it can be achievable, but it will be difficult actually. Okay, so you have to consolidate all the 10 lakh rows into one particular file, and then you need to sort it, and then you need to get that top 10 customers. Okay, it can be achievable, we can do it, but it will take bit time actually. Okay, in the similar way, there are other source, as I said, like notepad, okay, text files, CSV files and all. Okay, maybe I can show you some of the notepad files, so how it looks like. Yeah, if you can see, this is the notepad file. Okay, and the data is stored like this. If you can see, this is contains the IFSC codes. I think everyone is familiar with this. Okay, so it contains bank name, IFSC code, a branch name, city, state, phone number, everything. Okay, so this is how they are storing the data in this particular text file. This is called as text file actually. You are, so like this notepad, right? Okay, if you store the data and save it in any of the locations with .txt, with .txt format, it's called as text file actually. Okay, so here we can save a lot of data. I mean, there is no such limit actually. We can store a number of rows, but the problem is, see, by looking at this file, the data is zigzag, right? So reading is not it's very difficult actually, reading this data. Okay, so from this particular text file, it's very difficult actually. So that's why people will also not prefer to store the data in this text files also. Now when it comes to XML, right, XML is very, very difficult actually. Okay, so maybe I can show you in internet how the XML data file looks like. Yeah, can you see? This is how the XML data looks like. So there they will store the column, the rows in the format of nodes. This less than greater than is there now. So this is called as nodes actually. Okay. So again, reading from this XML file is very, very, very difficult, guys. First of all, understanding and storing also very difficult, and storing, I mean, reading from this XML also, it's very difficult actually. Okay, so and there are some other limitations as well. Okay, so that's the reason people always go and prefer these databases to store the data. So usually, in your villages or towns, so when you go to any shop and all, right, so they used to store the data in Excels. Most probably it will be in Excel. Why? Because their business is very, very small, right? Okay, they used to give the credits to so many people. Okay, and there are very less products over there in the shops and all. So earlier they used to write it in the notes. Okay, so because there won't be any system, no knowledge on top of the system and all, so that's why they used to write it in the notes. But nowadays everything become digital, right? Okay, so and online now, people are storing the data in Excel and all. Okay, because their business is very, very less. But if it is a very huge amount of data and the business is very huge, okay, so definitely people will prefer to store the data in the databases. Okay, so I'll show you why, how we will go and store the data in the databases, and what is the purpose of it, what is the benefits of storing the data in databases. Okay. Okay, now so before going to create the database, all those stuff, what I will do is I'll show you how to connect to SQL Server. Okay, and I think most of the people have installed the SQL Server, have seen the screenshots. Okay, now how to connect to SQL Server, I'll show you. Yeah. Now, so just go to start, and you need to type SSMS. Okay, and you can see this symbol, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio 18. Okay, if it is a kind of 2018 version, 19 version, so you can see 18 Visual Studio. If it is 2016, you can see the 16, I mean, Microsoft SQL Server Management System. Okay, so you can just open that, just double click on it. So it will open a wizard for you. Yeah. So if it is first time installation for you, right? So it will take little bit time to open it. Okay, so you have to be patient for the very first time. Going forward, it will open very fast. Okay. Now, okay. So it will pop up a window like this. Okay, it will pop up a window like this. So when you go to start, what I said is you need to type SSMS. So SSMS, so you are installing two softwares, right, to connect to SQL Server. One is SSMS and the other one is SQL Server. Okay, SSMS means SQL Server Management Studio, and SQL Server is a database. Okay, now in simple terms, what is the benefit of this SSMS means? So it's a client tool. It's a client tool to connect to a database. Okay, maybe it's technical. Maybe some people may not understand. So in simple way, see how did you connect to this meeting, everyone? With the help of what you connected to this meeting? Yeah, with the help of Zoom, right? Correct. It's kind of a mediator now, right? Between us and you, Zoom is the I mean software which you need to connect to this meeting. Correct. So in the same way to connect to database, this will be act like a client tool. Okay. This will be act like a client tool. Using this SSMS, right, we can able to connect to this database case. Okay, this is the simple terms we can say. Okay, what is the purpose of SSMS and what is the purpose of SQL Server? To connect to SQL Server database, we'll be using the SSMS case. So that's why you need to install both SSMS and SQL separately. Okay, yeah. Now I have opened the SSMS. Okay, now see, it is asking connect to server. Connect to server means SQL Server. So you need to provide a few details to connect to your database. Okay, this is the SSMS case. Whatever we opened is SSMS. Using this, we are going to connect to SQL Server actually. Okay, now before this connection, I want everyone to go and check one particular option, whether it is running or not. So go to start and type services. See, please do not do parallelly. As we said in the introduction class, don't open the SQL Server and do not do practice parallelly when the class is going on. Okay, please listen. You have the recordings, you can see and you can then practice. Okay, don't do parallelly. Yeah, and don't write anything also. I'll give you the notes. Okay, yeah, don't write any running notes or something. Yeah, just click on services and see for every software. Okay, whatever you are installing in your system, laptop or PC, whatever it is. Okay, whether it is a game, whether it is a software. Okay, so any application, so definitely in the back end, no, services will be running. Okay, so to give very small example, I think everyone using the a smartphone, right? Now whenever your WhatsApp is busy, or whenever your WhatsApp is stuck, or any other applications, Windows applications will stuck, right? So what you used to do, you are going to stop the services forcefully. You are going to stop the services. Do you remember that? So that it will get stopped and we will go and restart the service. I mean, if you are restarting your phone, right, so it will be little bit faster. Correct. Yes, in the similar way here also, for every software in your not only SQL Server, every software whatever you installing, right, there will be a service will be running in the backend. In the same way, for SQL Server also, one service will be running. And when you go down, you need to go to M, so that it's Microsoft SQL Server, right? So, okay, either you need to go to M or you can just go to S. Yeah, you can see here SQL Server, MS SQL Server. Okay, so it's running, guys. If you can see the status, it's running. Okay, so if it is not running now, so you cannot able to connect to your SQL Server. Okay, you cannot able to connect to your SQL Server. Do remember that. Yeah, so go to your services, make sure this is running. Okay, so if it is not running, how it looks like, I'll show you. See, there is a left hand side, so we have some options called stop, pause and restart. And either you can right click and start it, or stop it, or pause it. Okay, or you can just click on in the left hand side also. Let me stop the services. And in the real time, do remember, it is very, very important. In the real time point of view, you should not do these things, starting and stopping, right? You should not do. Why? Because many people are working in the server, SQL Server. So until unless we get an approval from the client or our superiors, right, we should not do this restart or stopping. Okay, do remember it. Usually our team lead or somebody who is admin will be there. SQL Server administrative will be there. Okay, so his role will be kind of a DBA, database administrator. So we are the developers, guys. In every company, for 10-15 developers, one DBA will be there, database administrator. Okay, so he'll be controlling us. Actually, controlling means in terms of access, everything. Okay, so generally he will be take care of this restarting the services and all. Okay, when they used to do this restart and all, means if the SQL Server will be very busy, and if it is not if it is getting very, very slow, no, that time we used to restart the services. Understand? Maybe I can show you one example. Let me just show you. Yeah, if you can see, I'm working for Installers company, and day before yesterday, so I'm facing an issue like to connect to the SQL Server. It's very, very slow actually. Okay, so that point of time, what they have done is, I'll just show you. They had put a message saying that please restart the services. I can just show you that. Yeah, can you see here? So hi all, we'll be doing a clean restart for dev 7003 and 4 at 645. Please save your work. Okay, so they are going to start the services, restart the services, so that it will be fast actually. Okay, so that's how they used to send a message. See, they're saying that it is running slow. Okay, so if it is same for all, so please go and restart it. Yeah, only in such cases they will do the restart and all. And as a developer, we should take the approval, and then only you need to stop and restart the services. Okay, as this is our local, right, this is installed in our in our own laptop, right? So we can do it, no issues. But in the real time, just be careful. Okay, yeah. So now it's not running, guys. If you see the status, it is not running actually. The status is empty here. So what you need to do, either you can just start the service here, or right click on it and click on the start button. So either way, it is fine. You can just see now it got started. See, it is in running mode. And let me also show you one thing. If it is not enabled and if it is stopped, right? And when you're trying to connect to your SQL Server, what will happen? I'll show you. Okay. Now, what are the options you need to select is the server type. You need to select the database engine, because we need to connect to SQL Server, right? So you need to select the database engine. There are multiple options. We'll discuss it later. Okay. So default it's database engine and the server name. So server name, usually it will be your PC name, guys. Whenever you are installing, you might have given, sometime it will be defaultly taken your system PC name or system name. And if it is not showing any server name, what you need to do is either you can put dot and connect it, or dot means it will defaultly take the local server actually. Okay, local server it will take and it will connect. Okay, or you just click on this drop down symbol, go to browse more. Okay, and click on the database engine, and here is the server name. Okay, and select it, guys. That's it. Okay, and when it comes to see, now this is my PC, and the name of server name, it has defaultly taken my PC name. But in the real time and all, how the server names looks like means, usually it will be IP addresses, guys. Okay, usually it will be IP address. They will put the IP addresses for us. Okay, sometimes like 10.1.0.102, something like this. This is the server name. We just need to copy and paste it over here. They will give us, guys, all these credentials. They will give us server name and username, password, everything they will give us. Maybe I can show you that as well. So recently I have joined in this company 1.5 months back. So they have sent some credentials to me. I can show you that. Yeah, can you see this? Okay, sorry. Not the one. Somewhere they have sent. Let me just check in the chart itself. Yeah, can you see this? Database engine, and the server is 10.0.0.21. I need to use this as a server name, IP address. And they're also saying some authentication, and they're also giving for me separate credentials. Every individual will have a separate credential. So this is the username and this is the password. Okay, like this they will share us the credentials as guys. Okay, so that we can connect. Yeah, so now it's not this one. You need to connect to Vinod KJ, and there are two authentications, guys. Authentication means, see, when you log into your your PC, right? So sometimes there will be username and password. Sometimes it will directly get connect with some guest user or admin and all. Okay, so when you use this guest user or admin, right? So defaultly, it will use the Windows credentials. You no need to provide anything. It will defaultly use the Windows credentials. Okay. See, there are two authentication. There are multiple. So we are not going to use this Azure Data Factory and all. Okay. So we'll be using two authentications in the real time. One is Windows authentication. The second one will be SQL Server authentication. In the real time, we will have both actually. Okay, so we can connect to Windows, we can connect to SQL Server also. Sometimes we will have only SQL Server, sometimes we have a Windows. The difference between these two is Windows authentication means you no need to provide any username and password. It will defaultly use the Windows credentials and it will get connected. Okay. When it comes to SQL Server authentication, you need to provide the username and password. Okay, you need to provide the username and password. This will provided by the your higher authority or your team lead or client somebody. Okay, and you need to click on the connect button, right? Okay, so it will get connect this. Now I'll go ahead with the Windows credentials. Later on, I can show you the SQL Server authentication. In your case, you can work on the Windows credentials. Later on, I can show you, how to connect to SQL Server also by creating a one user ID and password. Okay. Now let me click on the connect, guys. Can you see? So it's in waiting state. Okay. So usually it will take in the first, if it is a very first time, no, it will take little bit time, but going forward, it will take fraction of seconds to connect. Okay. But for me, why it is taking this much time means, so we have turn off this services now. So that's why it is taking time. So it is trying to connect to that services. So if it is enabled, then it will get connect. Otherwise, it won't connect. Okay, so that's why it is searching for that services. It will take little bit time, but finally it won't connect actually because of the services are disabled. Okay, so let's wait for a couple of minutes and we'll see what will happen. Here you'll get one error, guys. I want to show you that because usually people will get this error and they used to send the screenshots to me. So that's why, I just want to show you that error. The error will be something like some network specified error. So I'll just show you that. And one more thing, in the real time, right? When they are giving SQL Server authentication with username and password, right? Directly, if you go and connect it, it won't get connect, guys. Why? Because it's your it's your local actually. Even though the laptop is belongs to that particular company, right? So it will be considered as a local. It won't run. What they used to do is they will ask us to connect to a VPN actually. Okay, VPN means let me it will get connect to their network, guys. Okay, see, there will be a VPN settings will be there. All these setups will be done by the client or our IT team. Okay, so here we need to click on add add VPN. They will provide us some connection name. I mean the client connection name. They will give us the server name, everything, and if required, username and password. Once it will get connect now, so now we are in the client environment, so they can track easily. Okay, they can track everything, whatever we are doing, they can track easily. So that's why we will get connect to this VPN. Yeah, and then only you can able to connect to SQL Server. So maybe I can give you a small example. See, to connect to the Zoom, first of all we need to connect to your internet, correct? Yes. So without internet you cannot connect to Zoom, right? So in the same way, to connect to SQL Server in the real-time point of view, yeah, in your locals actually, in your local means like this case, we have a Windows and you will install the SQL Server here, and to connect to your SQL here, so we just need to connect to the VPN first. So all these things will be provided by the client actually. You don't need to worry about it. So every day before connecting to SQL Server, you need to connect to VPN, and then only you need to connect to your SQL Server. Okay. So nowadays it is work from home, right? So if it is a office environment, no, sometimes VPN may require, sometimes we may not require because it is a office environment. Okay. but as it is a working from nowadays, so everyone needs to connect to VPN first, so that it will be their environment, so they can track easily, so that we can connect easily to your SQL Server, guys. Okay, see, still it is taking a lot of time. Okay, I think maybe I can show you the screens. I can send you the screenshot what error it will come. Okay, so maybe I can download and I can show you. Okay, this is how it should be. So if you are getting this error, a network related or instance specified error occurring while establishing a connection to SQL Server. Okay, and the server was not found or was not accessible. Okay, and it is saying that verify that the instance name is correct and the SQL Server is configured to allow remote connections. Okay, such kind of error you will get it, guys. When you are getting this error, the first and foremost thing what you need to do is go and check your services whether it is running or not. Okay, mostly if it is not running, you will get such kind of error, guys. So right click on it. Now let me restart. It's not restart, it is start actually. Okay, so restart means now when it is running, no, you need to restart it, so it will stop and it will restart again. So now let's see, let's go and connect and we'll see what will happen. See, it got connected, guys. Why? Because I started the services, no, immediately it get connected. So let me disconnect and connect it. See, so the same thing. If I click on connect, see, fraction of seconds it will get connected because my services are running now. Okay, so if it is getting connected, then whatever softwares you install, right? So it's running fine. Okay, understand? That is what the sign yeah, that is what the sign in for you. Yeah, now there is a question. Yes, for my admin access, I also need to connect to my company VPN address before entering into company database. Exactly. Okay, because they have to track all your operations, so that's fine. Okay, yeah, so all these VPN setup will be done by the IT guy. You no need to worry about it. Okay, yeah. So now you can see this is the SQL Server, guys. SQL Server name. Okay, Vinod KJ, and there will be a name for it. Yeah, and here we have so many options: databases, security, server objects. Okay, many options are there. Okay, we'll not use all these options. Okay, so even in the training time, also in the real time point of also we'll be using very less. Okay, we're using very less options actually. So mostly these databases will be used regularly. Yeah, yeah. Now yeah, first we'll go to the first topic, guys. Okay, we'll go to the first topic. I think first topic is already done, that is data types. The second topic in the SQL Server is commands. Okay, so could you please write down now? See, I want everyone to take not 100 or 50 pages notes. Can you please take this spiral binding 200 pages, because yeah, I think 200, 250, 300 also it will be fine actually. Okay, so for you it will be very easy to write actually. Yeah, so if it is not there today, you can write in some notes. At least tomorrow you can just make sure to get that spiral binding notes. Okay, it will be helpful in your entire life base. Okay, yeah, so I'll give you the introduction for that. Okay, later on. Yeah, yeah. So let's go to comments, and you can write down these, guys. See, there are totally 5 commands over here in the SQL Server. One is DDL, DML, and DQL, DCL, and DCL. Okay. So write down, make a side heading, commands. The top side heading will be SQL Server, guys. Under that, you can write down commands, and you can put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and write down this DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, TCL. And below that again, make a side heading, write down DDL, data definition language. The abbreviation for this DDL is data definition language. So under this DDL, guys, so we'll be having some, sub definitions. I mean, sub commands actually. Okay, one is I'll just not put any numbers over here. I'll just simply write. First one is create, alter, drop, truncate. These are the 4 commands. It will come under DDL. You can write one by one, and the next one will be DML, guys. Data manipulation language. So under this, we'll be having multiple commands. One is insert, update, delete, could you please mute, and then merge. These are the 4 commands. Yeah, and then 3 DQL. It is data query language. These are very basics, guys. So it will be very useful. Okay, going forward, we'll be using all these commands regularly. So one is select command, and then it will be print. And 4th one, it is DCL, which stands for like data control language. Okay. Data control language. So in this, we'll be getting like grant, denied, revoke. And 5th one will be TCL, transaction control language. Please write down. Okay, and then in this commit, save, roll back. Okay, save, or we can also call it a save point. Anything is fine. So write down these commands, please. Let me know once it is finished.
Sir, Vinod, sir.
Yes.
So what about the data type, sir? Means integer, float.
Data types already Ramesh has discussed yesterday. We are going to use it now.
Okay.
Notes, I'll give you the one document to you. I think already it has been uploaded in the drive, guys. So Ramesh has uploaded. You can check in that first folder. So by seeing that, you can write down the notes for that data types. Okay. Is it fine to use both small and caps in queries? Yes. SQL Server, it is not a case sensitive actually. Either you can write in uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. Still, it will work. I can show you that. Everyone done? See, please write the notes, clearly, guys. Okay, everything I'll dictate to you, whatever it is required. Yeah. So I want everyone to maintain a crystal clear notes. Okay, fine then. So now, what is the purpose of this, commands, guys? So usually in the databases, okay, how we will go and store the data means in terms of two-dimensional. It will be kind of two-dimensional data. What is meant by two-dimensional data means, okay, so it will be columns and rows, guys. So table looks like the same, right? Column and then rows, correct? That's why it is called as two-dimensional data. So now in databases, we usually store the data in terms of, tables actually. Okay. Now we need to know the basics, like how to create a table in the database and how to insert the data into the table. See, in the Excel and all, we can directly go and type it, correct? We can directly go and, type it and we can insert the data over there. But in terms of databases, you just need to write some syntaxes or queries or statements. Okay, we can call in many ways. So usually we will be calling as like, queries case. We need to write some queries, and using the queries we can, create the table, we can insert the data, we can delete the data, we can update the data, we can select the data. Okay, so we can alter it, we can drop it. There are many options actually. So that's where to do all those operations, right, we are going to use this commands, guys. So that's why, can you see, there is something called, there is something called create, alter, drop, insert, update. Using these all commands, right, we can do, many operations. Okay, we can do many operations. Okay, so that is what we are going to learn. How to create the tables, how to insert the data, delete the data, all those stuff. These are the very, very basics, guys. Okay. Usually in the real time, we are not going to create any table. Okay. Most of the times when you join, the tables will be already exist, and the data will be already exist, guys. You need to write some queries to get the data. Okay, but why we need to learn to create and insert or delete? No, so it's a basics case. Definitely you need to learn. Okay, yeah. Now you see how to write the queries, where to write the queries means. Could you please see, there is a, in the top we have something called new query. Okay, either you can click on the new query window, or in the Word and all, however you are opening a new query window, I mean new window, right? So the shortcut is Control N, right? So you can press Control N also to open the new query window. Yeah, click on new query. See, you will get a one blank page in the right hand side, and you can drag this one little bit left. Now this is the query window, guys. Okay, this is the query window where we can go and write queries, the SQL queries. Okay, and this is also called as session. It's not section, it is session. Okay, this is one session. If you go and click on one more new query window, this is one more session, guys. This is one more session. We can open n number of sessions actually. Okay, so as it is a local, you can open n number of sessions. You can write the queries, no issues. But in the real time point of view, please do not open many sessions, because your SQL server will getting slow down, because multiple people are working in the SQL server, right? If you open 100 or 200 sessions, right, so then definitely it will get slow. Okay, it will the SQL server getting slow down. you cannot work easily. Yeah. So that's why in the real time, I recommend you to open 2 to 3 sessions if it is required. Okay, don't open multiple sessions. But as it is in your practice handle, you can open n number of sessions. No issues. If you want to close, see there is a close button. You can close it. Yeah. Now, if I'm trying to close this one, right? See, it will ask us to save the query window, which means whatever you're writing over here, if you want to save, right, you can just save that. However, we are storing in these notepad files or word files, right? After storing some data into it in the similar way, guys. It won't store the data, but it will store whatever queries we have written inside this query window. Okay, so this is also called as query window, but technically it is called as session, guys. Okay, and the session ID for this one will be 62. Can you see this? And when you open one more window, it will be some 65 like that. Okay, it will be not in sequence, so it will keep on jumbled actually. Okay, yeah. Now this is where we will write the queries and all this. Now I just want to open one more thing. See, when you click on this plus symbol, right? Now you can see many things. Yeah, we can see. So these are all called as databases, guys. These are all called as databases. Now you can see something. The first option called as system databases. Okay, so what is meant by system databases means? Okay, so when you install SQL Server, Microsoft usually give us a 4 default databases. Okay, a 4 default databases. So which means, see, usually when you install your Windows 7 or not now, the latest software, I mean latest OS like Windows 8.1 or 10, but usually if it is Windows 7 when you install, no, so we'll be getting defaultly Windows Player. Do you remember that? You no need to install it, right? Correct. They used to defaultly give us Windows Player and some zipping software, and also some of the games as well, some solitaire games, chess game. These are defaultly get installed, correct? You don't need to install externally, right? Correct. Yeah, in the similar way, guys, in the similar way, when you install the SQL Server, Microsoft has given it 4 database defaultly for us. Okay, these are the 4 default system databases. Okay, it will already get created, you no need to create it. So the default databases in the SQL Server will be master, model, MSDB and tempdb. Okay, so as of now, I'm not going to in deep of these databases, guys. So Ramesh will explain to you what is the purpose of all these databases. Okay, so you can just simply write a small notes for this, and I'll show you, I'll tell you what is the importance in terms of interview. Okay, so in the written test and all, they used to ask, can you name us the default databases in the SQL Server? You need to tell all these databases: master, model, MSDB and tempdb. Okay, could you please write down that system? Yeah, there are 4 system defined databases. There are 4 system defined databases. There are 4 system. There are 4 system defined databases available in the SQL Server. There are 4 system defined databases available in the SQL Server. So below that you can write down by putting the numbers. So first is master, then model, then MSDB and tempdb. So you can just see in the screen and you can write down this. Finished? Is it finished? Okay, fine. Okay, now these are the system defined databases, guys. Now when you open any window, right, see, when I open a new query window or a session, right, could you please see, defaultly it is connecting to master database. Okay, defaultly it is connecting to master database. Okay, for an example, see, you installed a OS, let's say. Now whenever you are installing any other software, let's say VLC media player, or even we are installing a SQL server, right? Could you please tell me where exactly it will go and install, in which drive defaultly it will go and install? Yeah, the default drive will be C folder, C, right?
C program files.
Yes, exactly. C program files. In the same way, okay, in the same way, whenever you open a new query window, you know, the Microsoft has set up that whatever you're going to write or whatever you're going to execute the queries, it will defaultly go and save under master database. That's how they have defined actually. Okay, there is a reason behind that Ramesh will explain to you. Okay, but in the interview point of view time also, you may get a question that can you tell me what is the default database in the SQL Server? System defined databases means this one, but what is the default database means master database, guys. If you want, you can make a note and write down. The default database in SQL Server will be master. Make a note and write down. The default database in SQL Server will be master. So if I'm going fast, please let me know. Okay. How many queries we can write in a one session? There is no limit. There is no limit at all. You can write n number of queries.
Number of, yes, sir.
Yes, there is no such limit actually. The default database in SQL Server will be master database, guys. Okay. Yeah. Finished. Okay. Now what I want to do over here is whatever queries I'm going to write, right? I don't want to store it in master, guys. Okay, I don't want to send that into master database. I want to store it in my own database. Okay, I want to store everything in my own database. For that, what you need to do is you need to go and create a new database actually. This is the first syntax in the SQL server, guys. Okay, how the syntax, I mean the first syntax is how to create a database, how to create a user defined database. User means we are the users, guys. See, now you are using this SQL Server app or application, right, to write the queries and all. I am using it, so I am the user here. Okay, if you are using, you are the user, right? Now, so what you need to do is please make a side heading, syntax to create a database. Yeah, so in the SQL Server, guys, so it's not completely programming, I can say, but programming will be there. Okay, but you no need to worry, you no need to write your own programming. There are some syntaxes. If you learn that, you can easily write the queries. Okay, I can show you some examples so you can understand what is a syntax, what is a query here. Okay, so syntax to create a database. Make a side heading. Make a side heading. Syntax to create a database, because we want to create our own database. No, I don't want to dump everything into master. Okay, I want to store everything into my own database. Yeah, syntax will be like this. Okay, see, we need to create a database, right? What you need to do is we need to use this create command, guys. Under DDL, we need to use the create command. Why we need to go for a DDL means? DDL means data definition language, correct? And we are defining the database, guys, correct? We are defining the database, correct? So that's why we need to use these definition languages. Okay, under this, as we are defining, we need to go and use the create command. Yeah. So now I am going to write the command. Please don't write it. I'll give you time. Please see the screen, everyone. Yeah. So create database and database name. This is how the query, I mean the syntax will flow to create any database, guys. Okay. Create database and database name. If you observe here, when I'm writing a syntax, so I had put this in uppercase and the database name I had put it in the lowercase. So it's because of, it's not mandatory to keep this in uppercase, guys. So we can put it in lowercase also, still it will work. Okay, there is no problem with that. But as per the Microsoft standards, okay, as per the Microsoft standards, commands and the keywords, see what is meant by keywords means whichever looks like in blue color, those are called as keywords. Okay, if you see the database is a keyword and create is also a keyword plus it's a command, correct? See, create is a command, right? Initially it is a command, right? But whichever looks like in blue color in the SQL Server, those are all called as keywords. Okay, let me just write it here. Create also create, it's a command plus it's a keyword also. When it comes to database, right, it's a blue, it is also a blue color, right? So it's only a keyword, it's not a command, it's a just a keyword. Okay, so whatever you can see, all these things, these are all commands, guys, do remember it. Okay, these commands also looks in blue color. Okay, now all these blue color keywords, no, or commands, no, we should put in the uppercase case. That is the Microsoft standards. See, some organizations will follow the standards, some organizations will not follow the standards. Okay, but I recommend everyone to follow the standards. Okay, whenever you are typing, please keep these keywords in the uppercase and your database name in the Pascal. Pascal means first letter will be in uppercase, remaining letter will be lowercase. See, make a habit of doing this so that in the real time also you can do the same. Okay, it will take little bit time, but still I want you to do it. Okay, yeah, this is the syntax, guys. See, syntax you should not execute. Okay, syntax you should not execute because this is a reference which will use to create a database. Okay, so syntaxes we should not execute, do remember this. So now I'm going to give an example. We are going to create one a database called, let's say, MSBA 20th batch. So create database. So till here it is same, guys. Create database, it is same, but this database name is our own name. Whatever we want, we can provide the database name. Okay, the database name I want to provide like MSBA 20th batch, and this name can be contains upper cases, lower cases, doesn't matter actually. It will gonna execute, guys, no issues at all. Okay, so I can show you what and all the ways we can write. See, we can put everything into lowercase, or we can put everything into uppercase also. All these three commands also will get executed, guys. But here, according to the Microsoft standards, this is the actual flow you need to use, actual syntax, the example. Okay, so this should be in low uppercase, and this should be first letter will be uppercase and the remaining will be lowercase. Okay, if you put lowercase also, no issues, guys, still it is fine. At least keep one letter as uppercase, it looks good actually. Okay, so let me remove it. Yeah, now you need to go and create this database. You need to create this database called MSBA 10th batch, guys. MSBA 10th, sorry, not 10th, 20th. Yeah. Now, when you write a syntax, see, this is the syntax. This is the example for it. Okay. The only change here is this database. This is our own name, guys. Whatever you want, you can provide. You can provide your father name, mother name, or your name. Anything is fine. No issues. Okay. Yeah. Usually, in the real-time point of view, the database names is like your project names. Okay. Let's say if I'm handling Apollo projects, let's say the project name is Apollo. Okay. If I'm handling, let's say Amazon means Amazon. If I'm handling Axis Bank, databases, then the database names will be Axis Bank. Like that, it will be, guys. Okay. But in our case, you can put your own name, no issues. Okay. Now, every day, don't create multiple databases. It will occupy so much of memory. Create 1 or 2 database and work on it. Okay. Yeah. So now, if you simply write the syntax, it won't get created. You need to execute it. You need to go and execute it. How to run a SQL query, or how to how to execute a SQL query means there are multiple options for us. Okay. One is select that command, select this command or syntax or a query, and could you please see there is a execute button. You need to execute this. Okay. Or you can simply, you can simply press F5 also. If F5 is not working, press function F5. Okay. One is execute button. The second one will be F5 or function plus F5. The third option is control plus E. All these three options you can use. Okay, whichever it is comfortable for you, you can use it. Okay, so I usually go with the execute button or control E button, or sometimes F5 button also. Okay, so whichever it is comfortable, you can use it, no issues. Okay, but see, initially this session will be connected to master only, guys. Okay, so before creating this database, definitely it has to connect to the master database. Later on we can change it. Yeah. So now select this command. Don't select everything up. See, these are all kind of notes whichever I gave. Okay, this is the actual example which you need to execute. Yeah. So select this command, only this command, and click on execute button. Now when you execute, see what will happen. Could you please see? Commands completed successfully, which means this command ran successfully, and there is a new database has been created with the name of MSBA 20th batch. Okay. Now you cannot able to see here now still. So what you need to do, right click on this database, click on the refresh. Now you can see a new batch. Not a batch, actually, it's a database. A new database has been created for us. Okay. So this is how we need to write the commands and run it, guys. So likewise, no, you can write n number of commands in one session. No issues at all. Yeah. Could you please write down this example? First syntax, and you can put this, create is a command plus keyword and database is a keyword, and write down this example. Create database, and here database name. And here what you need to do, no? Can you put, you can put a arrow mark for this MSBA 20th batch, and you can just say like our own name. This database name is our own name, and this should not change, guys. This create and database, these are fixed actually. You should not change it. Can you use space while writing name? Okay, so between this database, right? Yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, whether to use the space, whether we can use the space in between our special characters, all those stuff I'll tell you. There are some some restrictions over there while putting the name. Yeah, this space also is required between one keyword to another keyword, right? Whatever space I gave, you need to provide that. At least one single space you need to provide, guys. If you provide multiple also doesn't matter, still it will gonna execute, but at least one space is mandatory. Don't write it without spaces. For every syntax we have to write create database. No, see, depends on the requirement. See, I want to create a database, you need to go and use this syntax. If you want to create a something else like a date table, then a different syntax will be there. Okay. Understand,
Yes, sir. Understood.
yeah. Okay, so this is done. Create database MSB batch. Now below that, make a note and write down how to execute a SQL query or command. Okay, so write down all these three options: execute, function plus F5, and then control plus C. Write down these three options. Finished? How to identify the keyword? See, whichever looks like in blue color, those are keywords. Okay. Okay, fine. Now we have created a database, guys. Now still it is pointing to which database? Hello, still it is pointing to which database? Yeah, still it is pointing to master database. We want to connect to our database. No, we want to connect to our database. There are multiple ways to do it. Okay, the first one is you can use one more syntax to use your database, guys. The syntax is use your DB name. Okay, now here use is a keyword and your DB name is your DB name, whatever you want to connect. Okay, this is the syntax, the above one, and the example would be use. You can put in uppercase this one. Okay, so use your DB name is what? This one, right? This is what we created. Now you see, again you need to execute this, guys. Whatever you want to see, right? You need to execute it. So just select this and execute it. Could you please see? Now it is connected to MSBA 20th batch. Every day, whenever you are connecting, right? So it will defaultly connect to your database, guys, your master database, and then you need to use this command to connect to your original database. Okay, so this is via through the command, or if you want to do it by your with the other option as well, so you can just click on this drop down, you can directly select over here. If you want to connect to master, see master, again drop down, select your database. Either way it is fine. So this is graphical representation and this is using a query. Okay, I want everyone to go ahead with the queries only, not graphical representation. Okay, write down the queries and then you can use. Yeah, write down syntax to use DB. Syntax to use our own DB or user defined DB, anything. Maybe you can write like Okay, so this is a user defined database case, because user means we created, right? That's why it is called as user defined database, and this is already defined by the system now. That's why it is called as system defined databases. All these things, no, see, all these things are user defined databases actually. Okay. How to change the name which is already created? Yeah, I'll show you that. Everything will come. Okay. And there is a one more question. Can you tell what is syntax, sir? Okay, syntax means, see, to do anything in the SQL query. I mean, to achieve something in the SQL. Okay, so we need to pass some commands. Okay, we need to pass some commands to the SQL server so that it will understand and it will give us according to our requirements. Okay, so in simple terms, let me open a command prompt. Okay, in the command prompt now, if we need any IP address, okay, it won't directly give it for us, right? We need to run some command, we need to pass some command to this command prompt so that it will give us some information. Let's say I want to know IP address of this system. So what we used to do, so we'll run IP config. This is the command we are passing, command or a syntax. In the similar way, we need to pass a command or we need to run a command so that SQL Server will understand it, the command or a query. So accordingly, it will respond. Okay. See, when I click on IP config here, yeah, could you please see? It is giving the IP address of my system. Okay. So that's how in the similar way in the SQL Server also, we need to send a see, command means I can say like it's a query. What is your question? You tell me. Okay, so that I'll give you the answer. Yeah, that queries are that questions we are sending in terms of commands or commands or queries. Understand? Yes, go ahead, Lakshmi.
Hello, sir. So during execution, you are selecting one particular line and
Correct.
you're executing.
Correct.
Here, there is no need of any like commenting the other lines to execute a particular line.
You don't need to select it actually. Whichever you are going to select it, no, okay, you need to run that. If you go and select the other lines, no, so it will throw an error. Why? Because these are all not syntaxes actually. Yeah. These are all not original commands. There are defined commands in the SQL Server which we need to learn for every requirement. You need to run only that.
Sure. Okay.
See, as I'm giving a notes to you, right? I cannot write in Word separately and SQL queries separately, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm keeping everything in the this session itself. Maybe for some time, okay, I'll just keep everything in the comment. So nothing but these are not commands actually. The original commands I'll keep it as it is, and whichever it is kind of a notes, right? I'll put it in comment lines. Whichever it is in green color, those are all notes, guys. Your actual notes. These are all the original commands. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And where we use the semicolon, sir. See, semicolon is required in the Oracle database. Oracle also, it's one of the database. There also we will be having similar kind of syntaxes. Guys, maybe a small difference will be there. There, whenever you are running any query, it has to terminate with the semicolon. Otherwise, it won't run. But SQL Server, it's not mandatory to keep the semicolon. Okay, so it's if you keep it also, nothing will happen. Still, it is fine. But it is not mandatory to have semicolon for all the comments. Okay, it's for Oracle database. Okay. Okay, Monica, is it clear what is the syntax means? It's a question which we are asking or sending through a command to SQL Server. Monica, can you please respond? Yeah. Okay. Next is space allowed for. Okay, 1 second. command. Yes, see, whatever keywords or commands I'm keeping, right, in between that I'm keeping a space now. So this one space is mandatory. If you put multiple spaces also, still it is fine, but at least a single space is mandatory between each and every keyword. Otherwise it will throw us an error for us. Yeah. Okay, now you see, now by mistakenly if we go and execute this command again, what will happen, we'll see. Yeah, it is throwing an error case saying that this database name is already exists, choose a different database name. So meaning, so this database is already exist, guys. It has been created in the SQL Server. Okay, if we go and recreate it, right, definitely it will throw us an error, because in SQL Server we cannot create two databases with the same name. It's not possible. Okay, so in simple terms, if I go to a D drive and let's say in new folder, I'm going to create a new folder here, let's say with the name of MSBI. Now if I go and create a one more folder with the same name, will it allow? Definitely no, right? See, it is saying that this destination already contains in the folder name and you want to replace it. If you say yes, it will gonna replace it. Okay, but in a SQL Server, that replace option won't be there for us. Okay, it won't allow us to create the same name. If you provide a different name, we can create it, guys. Okay, so meaning, let's say if I go and provide some _1 something and go and execute it, see, now it is getting created, right? If you go and refresh, there will be a one more database with a different name. Okay, so could you please make a note and write down? Make a note and write down. See, these note points are very, very important. Okay, we cannot create two databases with the same name. Make a note and write down. We cannot create two databases with the same DB name. We cannot create two databases with the same DB names. Do remember it, okay? No, I'm providing, right? Whatever I'm saying is the notes. Are you not writing? Anita. Whatever I'm dictating, right? That is the notes. That is more than enough actually. Okay. Yeah. So now, so there is a question from Harish. What is the difference between command and a keyword? How they are work? See, Harish, these commands or keywords will help us to frame the, query or a syntax or a command. Okay. So to make the SQL Server understand, these commands are keywords, right? So it will help us to frame a query or a question which we are going to run in a SQL server and get something whatever you required. Okay. Yeah. Reference notes. What is meant by reference notes? See, reference notes is not required. I'm not going to provide any other materials, outside materials and all. Whatever I'm giving is more than enough actually. Okay. So don't worry. Going forward, you have to write so many things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, so when you click on, when you execute this, right, So it will get connect to our database, guys. Now this is where, if you run any other queries now, right, everything will get stored under this database, MSBI 20th batch database only. Okay, because it is now defaultly using this database. Okay, so now again make a note. So write down maybe side heading, below that make a side heading, prerequisites to create the user defined database. Prerequisites, or you can say like, precautions, anything is fine, or conditions. If you execute create database and use at the same time, will it execute or will it show an error? Okay, so you mean to ask like, so if I go and execute both the commands at a time, what will happen, right? Okay, let's do that and see. But I'll go and create one more database. Don't create multiple databases, huh? Okay, in your case, _2. So generally in the SQL Server, we can run multiple commands at a time, guys. Okay, but there are some restrictions actually. Not all commands you can execute, but you see, if I go and execute, so it is throwing an error. Why? Because see, the problem over here is when you go and execute both the commands at a time, right? So this database is not yet created, correct? This database is not yet created. Now, when you execute both the commands at a time, right? SQL Server will validate first, guys. Okay, SQL Server will validate first, saying that whether this database is at least existing in the database or not. It will, just make a check actually before executing the command. So this database is not exist, right? Correct. So it will throw an error actually. See, when I'm going executing, database does not exist. Make sure that name is entered correctly. See what I'm trying to say. Before running these commands, SQL Server will validate whether it is really exist or not. If it is not exist, it won't run this command at all. Okay, it won't run these commands at all. So that's why you need to run separately this command, and now that is exist now, and you go and run this. Now there won't be any others. So likewise, all the times you cannot execute multiple commands, but most of the times multiple commands can be executed. I can show you an example. Okay, I can show you multiple examples, but creating and using a new database, you cannot execute at a time. But still there is an option. I'll show you that as well. So someone feel like, if I really want to execute both the commands at a time, is there is an option, guys. The option is between the first command and second command, please put a go option. Go is a keyword. When you run this, so it will be possible. Now you see what will happen. Okay, so when you put a go no, what exactly will happen means, first it will validate this and it will run. Then it will validate this command, then it will run. So when it is running this command first, now this database will get created, right, before running the second command. Yes or no? Are you getting it? Yeah. So in the above case, what happens? Let me just make it clear. See, when you are not keeping a go option, no. Let me put 4. I'm going to delete everything, all these databases. Okay, these are dummy. So when you execute this one, what will happen means, it will, first of all, it will validate this one as well as this one. Okay, so in the second command, it is using this database, but this database is not exist. So without running, before running, in validation phase itself, it will throw an error. But whereas when you put a go, what will happen? It will not validate both the syntaxes at a time. It will validate first this one and it will run. Okay, and then it will go to the next statement and then it will run. Now, before this validation, before validating this one, before validating second command, the first one is validated and executed, right? Correct. So which means this database is already exist, right? So when it is validating the second database, it is already exist. It won't throw any error for us. Okay. So you can use a go command, guys, so that every command will validate separately, and it will run separately. Understand? Prakash, you got it, or you want me to explain?
No, I understood.
Anyone have? Yeah, go is a command or a keyword. So go is both actually. It's a command, also a keyword. But it won't come under any of these. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you put go, let me repeat, when you put go, what will happen means it will validate first query and it will run. And then it will go to the next query and it will again validate and it will run. That is how it will be. If you are not putting a go, it will validate all the comments at a time. If anything went wrong, it will throw us an error before running. Okay. We can use to keyword more comments. We can execute. We can use to keyword. What exactly it means, Lakshmipati? I didn't get it. Can you please reframe your question? I didn't get it what you said. When you use go keyword, more comments are okay. He's saying that go, it's not to. Whenever we want to run, he's saying that do we need to use the go command? See, not all the cases, Lakshmipati, only few cases. In this case, it is mandatory, but going forward, it is not not mandatory to use the go. I'll show you where and all to use, where and all not to use. Okay. So what if there is an error in the first command? Will it go to the second command? Okay, very good question. Let me show you. Go will be very helpful. I'll show you that. I'll go to the next query window, guys. Let me write it over here so that it will be very clear. Yeah. Let me write first use command, and I'll just put MSBA. This database is not exist, guys. Now let me put create command next. Create database and MSBA. And other case is MSBA, then go, then create database and MSBA. You can put lowercase also, no issues. Okay, now the difference over here is, if I go and execute this one, so first it will validate, correct? Now the validation will be failed in first case or second case. I mean, first syntax or second syntax. First one, right? Here itself, it will fail. See, if you go and execute, see, MSBA does not exist, correct? First, it will validate the first one, and here itself, it is failing, right? It won't go and validate this one at all. Okay. In the first command itself, it will throw us an error. But when you go and run this one, we'll see what will happen. See, it is saying that database MSBA does not exist, which means it will validate this one. It throws an error. Okay. But as we are keeping a go, right? As we are keeping a go, let's see whether this command is executed or not. So if this command is executed, we should have this database now in our SQL Server, MSBA. Let's go and refresh it. Could you please see there is a MSBA, which means does this command is executed or not? This command is executed, right? Okay, let me just clarify. When you put a go keyword, guys, here, whether the above statement is success or failure. Above statement is success or failure. That's fine. Still, it will go to the next query and it will run. Okay. But in this case, what will happen when you are not putting a go? If the above statement fail, no, it won't go to the below statement. If above statement is success, then only it will go to the below. When you put a go, whether the above one is success or failure doesn't matter, it will go to the next statement. Are you clear? Okay. Make a side heading go and write down. Write down. When we keep go command or go keyword, when we keep go command or go keyword in between the commands means SQL Server commands, or you can put SQL commands. In between the SQL commands, then if the first statement is success or failure, if the first statement is success or failure, if the first statement is success or failure, but still it will go and run the second command. Okay, if the above command is success or failure, doesn't matter. Okay, still it will go and run the second command. If you put go, when we keep go keyword in between the commands, SQL commands, then if the first statement is success or failure, but still it will go and run the second command. Same case, if the second command is success or failure, doesn't matter, still it will go and run the third command as well. If you put a go, yes, it's applicable only for go keyword. And going forward, we'll use this go keyword in many cases. Okay. Okay, you can write down this. Use MSBI. The statement is success or failure. Go. This command will also run. You can write down this. Yeah, here error message showing like this, message 911. Yeah, so for this particular error, no, so the Microsoft has defined some, the message number. Okay, and what is the exact line? Can you see in the left hand side we have seen like some lines, in which line the error comes, so that we can easily rectify, no? Okay, so these levels and states, it's not important for us. Okay, that's fine, but this message and line numbers are important. So even in real time also you'll get a similar kind of message. Okay, next. Done. Okay, write down. Next point in the same go only, make it as first and the second point. If we run the SQL commands without go statement or go keyword, anything without go statement, then if the first statement is fail, if the first statement is fail, then it won't go to second statement. If you are not putting a go, right, if there is any errors or any mistakes are there in the first commands, right, so it will never go to the next command at all. It will stop the execution there only. It will stop the execution there only. Finished. Okay, going forward, you will get so many questions on this. Okay, so that's, you see, I opened a one more, one more query window. Still, it is pointing to the same database, whatever it is required. Okay, so I'm going to delete all these databases which is not required for me. Don't create multiple databases. Huh? Just to test it, you can create and go and delete it. Okay. Now all these things, I'll keep it at the end here. I'll go and delete it. So don't delete like this. I'm going to give the comments for that as well. Just a sec. Okay, fine. Now we know how to create the database, right? Yeah. I think we have to write some prerequisites, right? Okay, maybe you can write down now also, no issues. Make a note again, right? Prerequisites to create a user-defined database. First point, guys. First point. The database name should not start with numbers or special characters. This is the first prerequisite. The database name how many types of commands like use and go that we are not discussed before. No, I didn't get the question properly. Yeah, there is a command for deleting the database. I can show you that. Shahul, can you reframe the sentence? I didn't get it what you are asking. The database should not start with the numbers or special characters. Okay, meaning, yeah, when you create a database, okay, then the name should not start like this. Let's say 123 Amazon. The database name, if you keep the number starting, right, it won't allow us to create guys. So it should be characters always. And even if you put any special characters like, dollar or any percentage something, still it will not allow. Okay, it's not possible. Now the second point is the database name should not contain any spaces in between. Any spaces in between. So meaning create database, let's say Amazon space India. If you want to create like this, it's not possible. See, there is a spaces in between, no? So it won't allow us to create it. See, it throws an error. Yeah, we can use the special characters in between. We can use the numbers also in between. It's fine, but starting it should not be. In between or end it can be, but starting it should not be. Okay, the database should not contain any spaces in between. Okay, third point. The numbers are integers, you can say. The integers and special characters may contain in between or at the end, or you can put suffix also. Suffix means at the end, right? Yeah, the integers and special characters may contain in between the database name or keyword, anything, or at the end. Suffix. Okay, now again Microsoft has come up with again idea that, okay, what if the client required the special characters in the prefix or numbers in the prefix? Okay, what if the client is definitely required that? See, definitely some of the clients know, so they want us to keep the numbers as their branch, and there will be some branch numbers and all. They want us to keep that branch number first and then branch name. So in such a case, it won't allow us to create the database, right? So that's why Microsoft has given one option for us. So if these cases are not possible, then you can do one thing. To make it possible, we can do one thing, so that you need to put the square brackets for that entire name. If you want to keep a suffix this integers or special characters or spaces in between, then you can go ahead with these square brackets in the start and end. Then you can we will allow you to create this creation of the database. In this case, it will get created, guys. See, if I go and create with the square brackets, see, now it is not throwing an error. Could you please see? 1 2 3 amateur. Okay, so if it is special characters or numbers, if you want to keep prefix, right? So the recommendation is, so you have to put the square brackets for the entire DB name. But if it is just if you are starting with the characters and all, then it is not mandatory. The square brackets are not mandatory. Yeah, go command you have to execute after the first command. Okay, so even if you put above also, nothing will happen, still it is fine. Yeah, could you please write down all these things? Write down all these 3 points. Okay, then below 4th point you have to write like this. Okay, to start with special characters or integers, to start database name with special characters and integers, follow the below instructions. Okay, so this open brace and close brace is mandatory. Okay, and even see, if I want to use this Amazon database, right? If you simply go and keep Amazon, it won't work, guys. Okay, it won't work. See, this database is there, no, 1 2 3 Amazon, but when I'm executing, see, it is throwing an error saying that 1 2 3 incorrect syntax near 1 2 3. Because why it is throwing an error? What is missing there?
Square bracket is missing, sir.
Exactly. So you have to put the square brackets in this case. It's mandatory, guys. See, earlier case, it is not mandatory. See, in the above case, when I'm keeping see, I'm starting with a character. No, in this case, it is not mandatory to keep it. If you simply go and run it, it will run without square brackets. But if it is a special characters or, the integers and all, everywhere, wherever you are using this DB name, you have to put the square brackets. It's mandatory. Clear? Yeah. So these square brackets you have to use, guys, not these brackets. Okay, it will throw an error if you use that. Write on this. And one more thing, without there is a space in between, right? Generally people without giving a space, right, they will go with the underscore, guys. See, underscore is a special characters, but it is a in between, right? So still we can use it actually. Amazon underscore without spaces, usually we'll prefer to go with this underscores always. So you can see my database names are always, keep it like underscores in between. If I want a space in between. See, if you want to put a space, what is mandatory? Definitely we have to put the square brackets, right? So why to keep every time? Okay, instead of that, go ahead with the underscore. Okay. Finished? Okay, done. Fine. Okay, now what I will do is I'll go and remove this command, guys. Okay, write down syntax to drop the database. Don't use it in the real time, please. We should not drop any existing database in the real time. Okay, write down syntax to drop the database. See, for an example, I created a database here now. So this is a dummy database. I don't want it actually. So what I used to do earlier, I right click on it and click on the delete, right? But this is a graphical representation. I don't want you people to learn that. So you need to do everything in the using the syntaxes. Okay. So syntax is, don't write it, please observe. Syntax is drop database name. This is the command, guys. If you see drop will come under a definition language only. Okay, so why they had given this drop under definition language means, see, earlier we defined it. Now we are changing the definition. Changing means we are removing, right? Correct? We are removing the complete object now. Okay, for that you need to again use the DDL command only, that is drop command. Okay, so drop database and database name. This is the syntax, and example would be drop. Drop is a command and a keyword, and database is a keyword. And your database name is what? 123 Amazon. But if you simply go and execute, it will throw us an error because brackets are mandatory here. Okay, so just select it and then click on execute button. Can you see this? Execute button. Now it is showing that command successfully executed. Now see, now it is there now. If you go and refresh, it will be go off. See, it's gone. Okay. So now one more thing, if you want to drop multiple databases also, we have an option. Okay, so the syntax is database name 1, comma database name 2, etc. comma database name 3, etc. So same thing here also, drop database. So let's say I want to drop this one, database 1, comma these are all dummy. Even MSBA also I want to drop. Let's say you can drag and drop or you can type it, no issues. And the square brackets, no, when you drag and drop, right? So defaultly SQL Server will give us the square brackets, and it is not mandatory to have it. Even though it is there, nothing will happen. That's fine. See, I'm keeping two databases at a time, guys. I am going to drop using a single syntax. See, now both the databases will be gone. Okay, using a single drop command, we can drop multiple databases. It's possible. Okay. Yeah, there we have created, and here we removed. Okay, we remove the database. For both, we need to use the DDL commands only. Shall we put the braces and the underscore at a time? It will execute. Yes, it will execute. See, this is the example for that. Okay, see, for this case, right? If you put the square brackets also, it is fine. If it is not there also, it's fine. But so any database starts with a special character and number, right? So for that, it is mandatory to keep the square brackets. Okay. Yeah. Is it possible to create the multiple databases at a time? Yes, good question. So let's see if I go and create both the databases at a time, whether it will happen or not. Yes, it's happening. Okay, so multiple databases you can create it, but not using a single command. It's not possible. Meaning, let me show you. So I think he's asking like this, Kiran. Can we keep like this, right? Create database name 1, database name 2, like this. Correct, Kiran? Are you asking in this way? It's not possible actually. Okay, it's not possible. Using a create command, we can create one database at a time, not multiple. Only in case of dropping, you can drop multiple databases. Okay, yeah. Now I think already these two databases are already created, and let's go and drop it again. Drop database. This is the first database name, and comma the second database name is this, and execute this. Gone. And people are asking, they're asking after dropping, what if we do it again? Okay, if you do it again, it will throw error because that command is already removed, right? I mean, the database is already removed, right? If you go and removing again, it will throw an error. See, the database is not exist. Correct? Understand? So simple, guys, very simple. If I go and delete this folder, is it possible to re-delete that again? No, right? Because that folder itself not there. It got deleted already. Same case there also. Okay, is there any batch command to drop entire DB? No, we are not going to run any batches here. Can we restore the deleted database? Yes, see, when you drop it, we cannot. It's not possible. We cannot restore it. That's why I told you not to delete anything in the real time. Okay. Okay. No, asked is there any undo option? No, it's not possible. When you drop it, it's not possible. You cannot undo that. Okay. Can we write delete command instead of drop command? Delete is different, drop is different. See, when you drop anything, right, it will get removed permanently. The database will get removed permanently. Delete is different. I'll come back to that. By Control Z, can we do, see, when you do Control Z, no, whatever you have written, see, it will go off. But whatever you deleted, right, or dropped, right, it won't come back again. Okay. Your commands will come back, but not your database. Okay. Okay, I think I have answered all the questions. That's fine. Could you please write down this syntax to drop databases? Write down this syntax. Okay. And is an example. Yeah, sorry, there is a question. Is there any option to move the DB to recycle bin? Kind of. No, it's not possible. In our normal PCs, if you delete something, we will go to recycle bin and we'll restore it. No, but here it's not possible. When you drop, it's a permanent deletion, guys. We cannot retrieve back. That's why I told you not to do this operation in the real time. Done. If you want, make a note and write down. Using drop command. Using drop command, we can drop multiple database at a time. Using single drop command, you can write. We can drop multiple databases. Second point, using single create command, we can create only one DB at a time. If you want one more, you need to write one more time the create syntax. Write down these note points. See, if you by heart these, it won't come. All these syntaxes, you need to practice it. Finished. See, RDB means Ramesh will discuss about that. Okay. Okay. So let's stop this. It's already 9 o'clock. I think some of the people needs to go to the offices. Okay. So I'm just stopping the recording, guys.